I was watching a video from YouTuber Matthias about an air engine that he built a few years ago. In fact, it was a rebuild of an earlier project which he didn't film, so he made an updated version and made a video about it. I thought this was really interesting and I wanted to understand how it worked better, so I thought I'd build my own version. Matthias sells plans for lots of the things he makes, and he also has software for generating gears, so you should check that out as well as his channel if you don't already subscribe. I bought the plans for the air engine, which come with lots of photos, plans to cut the parts out of wood, and also a 3D model which is for Sketchup. There wasn't any indication of how much torque the engine would generate in Matthias's original video, and I think I want to make a slightly higher power version, so I'm actually going to redraw all the parts in CAD from scratch. I want more surface area on my main piston that drives the output, and that of course means having a larger cylinder. Looking at the plans, my cylinder volume is probably around 8 times the volume of the original. I considered making my cylinder round instead of the original square one, which is of course made from flat pieces of wood. But I'm planning to 3D print all my parts, and the best way to print a tube is on its end, but that means the build lines would cut through the tube, which means that there wouldn't be a smooth surface to run the piston against, at least not without sanding the inside smooth, so I just went with a similar box-shaped cylinder. The main thing I wanted to understand is how the valve mechanism works, which allows air to flow into each side of the cylinder at the right time. There are multiple layers of wood in the original which make an air channel to each side of the piston.
And for anyone who's worried, I did actually email Matthias and ask him if he didn't mind me knocking his design off and rebuilding it, and he said it's fine, so no need to worry about that.
In my version, I'm going to structure the layers in the same way so I can understand how it works. The first layer has a channel from the ends of the cylinder which brings the two air paths closer to the middle. The next layer is also part of that, and I could have made these first two layers all in one part. A sliding part goes on top of that, and then the final layer has two holes which are ultimately for the inlet and outlet. I think I got the geometry right, so let's print all the parts and see if it fits together. So here are some of those layers getting printed with all of the holes in. This part is the slider getting printed that actually decides which way the air should go. Just a quick ad from my 3D printing sponsor. Thanks to LolsBot for supporting my channel with 3D printers. It really helps making all the parts in parallel. This is one of the cylinder ends being printed. Obviously we've got lots of flat sections, and this is the top surface on that slider.
The parts are printed for the main cylinder and that valve assembly, but thanks to 3D Fuel for the filament for this project and lots of other projects. All of this is printed in Pro PLA+.
So here's that slider, which is actually the valve mechanism, which is quite free to move in there. There are some gaps which we might have to sort out later though. It only moves about 10mm in each direction, and that reveals two holes on one side and one on the other. And obviously if we move it back 20mm the other way, then that's the same but the other way round. There's another layer on top of that though, which fits right here, and that means if we move that slider to one direction, then we reveal a hole in the top which goes to the right hand side of the cylinder, and a hole in the bottom that goes to the left hand side of the cylinder. And if we reverse that, we now get a hole in the top that goes to the left hand side and in the bottom that goes to the right hand side. The layer below that moves those air channels into the middle, and of course this makes up the whole cylinder, so we've got those cylinder ends as well. My piston rod is a piece of smooth aluminium, and that should fit fairly well through the two holes. There is some gap, but it moves pretty freely, so hopefully there won't be too much leakage. And the piston is a 3D print which is going to fix onto there. Now it's quite stiff the way it's come out printed. Obviously I did tolerance this in CAD, but things are never totally accurate. So I'm just going to rub that down the same way Matthias did on his, and that means we can tolerance that piece so that it fits nicely inside our cylinder. So that moves much more freely, which is what we need, so hopefully there's not too much leakage around the outside now. And that is glued and screwed onto the piece of aluminium. The insides of the cylinder are the bottoms of the 3D print, which should be as smooth as possible, but I'm putting some silicone grease all the way around here to help it move freely. And that includes all the way around the inside of the box, onto that shaft, onto the piston, and also onto the lid, which of course goes on the top of there. So altogether that moves incredibly freely now, so pretty happy with that, although we'll see how leaky it is and how much efficiency we get. Obviously that piston will move all the way to the end of the cylinder, but if it does it actually blocks the holes, so in reality all it needs to do is move about 50mm, so it's just before that hole on each side. If I stick a post-it note over one of the holes, then we can see that seems to be pushing air quite well and sucking air, so I think this will be alright. I'm using this cordless Henry vacuum, which I actually used in the past to push air into a pipe organ. It's got 2 speeds and I'm using the top one. So if I put that hose over one of the holes and I move the valve block at the top, we can see it actually drives the piston. Although it doesn't seem to be making an especially good job of it, I am putting a round hose over a square hole, so there's quite a lot of leakage. That valve slider is also actually quite loose in the hole there, both sideways and up and down, so there's more leakage there. I decided to print another one which I made just very slightly larger, and then again I toleranced it down by sanding it all the way round until it moved freely, and hopefully this time there won't be such a big gap. So we can see there that it fits much better, and basically it slides just as well as it did before, but there's hardly any movement in it there if I try and move it sideways or up and down.
But before we carry on with that, it's time for a quick ad from the video's sponsor, which is Iolo System Mechanic, which is an all-in-one PC cleanup utility. Iolo System Mechanic features one-click analysis and system repair, so you can always get peak performance from your PC. It quickly removes temporary internet files, erases browser data, repairs registry issues, and removes broken Windows shortcuts. You can easily remove system hogging bloatware that could be slowing you down. There are easy to understand benefits with every tool. And you can also automatically schedule the analysis of your system with Active Care. You can choose how frequently you want Active Care to run and repair issues. Iolo System Mechanic can increase your system speed and performance, enable Live Boost to better allocate processing power and maximise RAM. Iolo System Mechanic Net Booster can give you better internet performance with less buffering and faster downloads. And there are privacy and security features too. You can check and patch Windows security vulnerabilities and completely uninstall deceptive and unwanted programs. Iolo System Mechanic has over 20 years of PC performance innovation and has helped over 80 million people. It's made in the USA and the award-winning software is used in over 33 countries. Iolo System Mechanic is trusted by popular brands such as Dell and Best Buy. Use the link in the description to get Iolo System Mechanic now and use code James Bruton for 60% off.
So we need the flywheel to tie all this together. It has a place to put the main piston, which moves at 50mm, so it's 50mm diameter, and that's all mounted on bearings. We also have a camshaft that we have to build, which is going to move the valve, and that's only 10mm of movement in each direction, so we've only got a 10mm offset, and that's all going to be held together with bolts. I've got this stand which the cam goes in the middle of, and of course that's got bearings each side, so everything's running on bearings. This is the actual camshaft pusher that pushes that sliding piece. That's got bearings on, and it fits onto the slider on the air valve on the other side. I've just stuck everything to the table now with sticky tape so it doesn't move. So we can see as we spin the flywheel, we've got that cam moving just 10mm in each direction. And that's moving the valve just the right distance so that it opens and closes the holes. The piston, of course, drives that flywheel, and that moves 50mm in each direction, so we can see that those are completely different sets of motions at different diameters on the flywheel. And the piston and the valve are 90 degrees out of phase. If they were 180 degrees out of phase, then as soon as the piston moved one way, the valve would start to blow air into the other side of the cylinder and start pushing it back too soon. So in the end it would just tend towards equilibrium and everything would just get stuck in the middle. With only 90 degree phase difference, we don't get air into the opposite side of the cylinder until the piston is almost at the other end and ready to be pushed back. So let's chuck that vacuum on there and see if we can get it to run. Well, it's not too enthusiastic so far. There we go, it just about works with that vacuum, and that's still the cordless Henry. It goes very slowly, so I don't think there's much air throughput on that vacuum cleaner, and actually it's pretty easy to stop if I put my hand on it. And it doesn't start again until I give it a push. There's quite a lot of leakage around the hole, of course, though, because it doesn't cover the square hole. The flywheel moves pretty freely, and the whole thing does, so it will spin round a couple of times, or even more if I give it a shove, which is the recommendation from Matthias in his original video.
So nice as it is, this cordless Henry isn't very sucky. Basically, if I just turn this on and put my hand on it, it really doesn't feel like a high-powered vacuum that you'd have maybe an outlet-powered one. I guess it is cordless, which is nice, but we probably need something more powerful.
Yep, I also made this flange piece that takes the vacuum cleaner hose and blocks all the holes up and makes it fit perfectly over that square hole in the valve block. So now we can see that it runs much better. Yep, and there's much more torque in that as well, so if I put my finger on it quite hard I can slow it down, but it picks up again and works again when I take my finger off. Torque is constant, but I can apply more force to the middle of that shaft because it's a smaller diameter, and as you'd imagine, that still keeps going. So that looks like we can drive something from it. It's wobbling quite a lot, and I left holes in here so we could put some bolts in which will hopefully counterweight the force of that piston going backwards and forwards. So the bolts move in the opposite direction to the piston, and that means hopefully we should be able to cancel out some of that wobble. I should probably have left bigger holes, and that flywheel is more than wide enough, and put bigger bolts in, because that's really not made any difference whatsoever. But anyway, at least I tried. We need another belt reduction stage on this at least, so I've made this extra piece on the flywheel mount which has got a sliding section. There's an end cap that fits on there and allows me to put a captive nut in that hole and then tension it up with a piece of M8 studding and another nut. So now I can pull that up and I can tension up the extra pulley that's on there, so now my belt's nice and tight, and that gives us another 3-to-1 reduction. So I pulled this wheel off another project that's already got a T5 pulley attached to it, and that is of course going to be driven from that 3-to-1 reduction. So I've also made this wooden platform, and that wheel in fact is going to sit below it with another similar wheel, although only one wheel is driven, and I've got 2 casters at the front because they happen to be the right height to make it level with the ground. Well, it runs okay if I push it. You can see that whole piston turning from the wheel back driving it, so we can see how free moving it is. So that's pretty hopeful. But what about if we give it some air? Well, it seems quite enthusiastic about moving, that's driving with no problem, and it's pulling the Dyson along behind it. Eventually it got stuck though, and the wheel's just spinning, so I think we need to put some more mass on top. So a bit of a shove to get it going, but once it's running it's perfectly happy. It's not running as quick as it was without me standing on it, and you can see that it's running quite a lot slower, but with that 3-to-1 reduction it's driving me along perfectly well. If I don't lean forward so much, so I don't apply so much pressure to that wheel, then it goes a bit faster, but it's a bit of a balancing act between the wheel spinning and actually driving me along. But that's looking pretty good.
So I'm actually pretty surprised that works as well as it does. Obviously it's not that efficient, because if I just took the vacuum cleaner motor, which is 1800 watts, and then use that to drive the wheels, it would probably have a lot more power and go a lot faster, I expect. So I'd really like to make a future version, probably with cordless leaf blowers or something like that to drive it, so I can actually make a vehicle and have more cylinders, probably smaller, faster moving ones, and have a bigger gear reduction on the end. So I'm not going to publish the CAD for this because it's Matthias' design, and if you want to have the design you should go and get it from him and pay the $10. If I make significant changes in the future, make a V8 version or something, I might publish it, but for now that's it. Alright, that's all for now.